The news just doesn't stop when it comes to who's going to be where in 2023 for the NASCAR Cup Series and the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Mostly sponsorship-wise in the Cup Series, but Xfinity-wise, Joe Gibbs Racing has been making some moves. Also, Kyle Busch, well, everything seems to be set in stone. Let's get right into it. Starting off, we're going to look at Joe Gibbs Racing. JGR has been in the midst of a big changing period. Of course, we all know about the 18 turning to the 54 for Ty Gibbs, but now we have some news on the Xfinity side. Starting out, we have John Hunter Nemechek. Nemechek will be in the number 20 JGR Xfinity car. The 20 being brought back after a one-year hiatus, and I think that this move is deserved. Nemechek has been one of the top Toyota prospects over the last couple years. He has been probably the best all-around truck series driver in that time, and in his brief time in the Xfinity series over the last couple years, he has been right up there with everybody who is elite in that series. I think that this coming year, he will be probably, if not the championship favorite, one of them. He should be expected to make the Final Four with how good he has run in the past, and with a full-time schedule, I think we're really going to see the full potential reached for him in this series. Overall, I think this is a great move for the team. Now, there's also another move which is part-time, and that is Ryan Truex racing 6 races in the number 19 Xfinity car. And he's had some good runs in the past. If many of you don't remember, Ryan Truex really had a lot of hype behind him about 10 or so years ago. It was just a matter of time, many thought, until he would finally get his big break and really start competing at a high level. But that really didn't happen. I don't know, honestly, if this is a good move at the moment, but seeing how well that they succeeded with Trevor Bayne in a part-time series role, I think that this is at least worth the try. And in the number 18 Xfinity car for Joe Gibbs Racing, there's Sammy Smith. Smith is a driver, in my opinion, and I've been very high on, that would really benefit from having a full-time season with a team built around him. And it looks like he's going to have that. He has great potential. He's ran fast in the Xfinity Series with limited starts and limited seat time. And look no further than how well he performed at Watkins Glen earlier this summer. I think that Sammy Smith is going to be a driver who will have his ups and downs this coming season, but this is a great move for him and a great move for JGR in the long term, in my opinion. And now, of course, the news that all of you probably have been waiting for, and of course, all of you are probably most aware of, and that is Kyle Busch announcing his full-time sponsor lineup for 2023, with Cheddar's, 3Chi, Allsco Uniforms, Lenovo, and BetMGM. The biggest of these being the fact that, well, Kyle Busch, RCR, and Cheddar's announced their scheme, which will be the primary scheme for the 8 team this year. And Cheddar's overall with this has also announced they've expanded their amount of races sponsored. According to Adam Stern, they are going to be on the car a lot more this year than they were last year. And with all this, you may have noticed that there is a redesign on this car as well. The number 8 is going to look different this year. Kyle Busch and his team are going to have a fresh start. All of this is going to be a fresh start. And, well, you can't exactly have the 8 that fits the RCR3 font. Thank you, Teresa. But I'm going to say this right off the bat. This is showing a lot of potential and a lot of good momentum for Busch and RCR heading into the 2023 season. Busch, in a lot of ways, has looked like he's wanted to have a fresh start and looks like he wants to help RCR build. And I think in RCR's case, having this team center around that 8 car and around Kyle Busch is ultimately the best possible move they can make. This was the strategy that they were going with to build around Tyler Reddick. And I think that in doing this with a better driver in Kyle Busch, it's only going to see better rewards in the long term. Remember, this team did win 3 races last year with Reddick, and a revamped and re-energized Kyle Busch may just put this team on the map as a championship contender year in and year out. I'm going to say this, though, right now. This really makes Joe Gibbs look bad. Like, bad. Because while these are all former RCR sponsors, and while they all have been sort of a question mark leading into the year, it still is a basically full-time sponsorship for this season for Kyle Busch, something that Joe Gibbs and Joe Gibbs Racing continuously said that they couldn't do. And it really, in a lot of ways, may vindicate a lot of Kyle Busch supporters and a lot of people who are really against JGR at the moment, as many have theorized that Kyle Busch was basically pushed aside so that Ty Gibbs could get a full-time Cup Series ride. Yes, I know that a lot has gone on around that, but we probably shouldn't forget the fact that basically JGR let one of the best drivers, not in their history, but in NASCAR history, walk. And in my opinion, that is just almost unforgivable, especially when you look at the people that they have in some of these rides, and you have 2 drivers who are definitely starting to hit the late stages of their career, one of which who may only be around for a year. You have a rookie, and then you have one sustainable veteran driver that's still young. It just all around does not look like it has the greatest foresight, and looks like it was just done to make the owner's grandson a full-time Cup Series driver. I know that that might not be the nicest thing to say at the moment, but it seems pretty true when you strip it all down to the bare facts of it. Joe Gibbs and Joe Gibbs Racing were trying to get a full season sponsor for Kyle Busch, when in the reality of today's NASCAR, that's just not possible. And I think had they done a patchwork deal similar to RCR did, with one main sponsor maybe taking up the mantle of 20 races and then filling in the last 16 or so, I think that they would have had an easier job getting this whole deal done with Kyle Busch and not losing him. This is all going to reflect back at the end of the season when we look at how Ty Gibbs did versus Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch, granted, is an older driver, but he's still got a good 5 to 8 years left on him, and while Ty Gibbs has a bright future ahead of him, it definitely isn't something that is set in stone yet. It is not set in stone that Ty Gibbs is going to set the world on fire. Many drivers have had a lot of push, a lot of potential, and then never lived up to that when they get to the Cup Series. And that may be the fatal flaw in the decision-making for JGR, and something that Richard Childress and Richard Childress Racing have entirely taken advantage of. It's basically just going to be a wait and see until then, though. But with that, I'm going to pass this all on to you. What do you think of the moves that JGR made and the ones sponsorship-wise that RCR did? Do you like them? Do you hate them? What are your thoughts on those? And also, do you think it's a bit of pettiness on RCR's part that they did this on the same day that JGR was making all their announcements? Just let me know down in the comments below. While you're at it, leave a like on this video, share this video, and subscribe to my channel for more great NASCAR content. Thank you so much to all my channel members for your continued support, and until next time, have a good one.